Good news for migrant care workers at last. The report in the paper this morning is major migration crackdown is softening for Andy Bernard as ministers scramble to impress the incoming Prime Minister. You might say, Frank, what is going on? Wait, we've got good news for you today. Now, another good news that we have today, this is from the newspaper, is the Home Office is poised to exempt thousands of foreign care workers and their families from rules that would force them to wait for 10 years before getting indefinite leave to remain. As you see from the newspaper today, the Home Office is poised to grant you indefinite leave to remain after 5 years, not 10 years. This is the biggest news that we have for you today. If you know anyone that will benefit, kindly ensure that they see this video. How did we get here? This man, before last week, nobody has heard of him. His name is Mike Tapp. He's a junior minister in the Home Office. He wrote an article, and in that article, he was saying that migrants that have lived in the UK, this is a minister in charge of immigration. He said migrants who have lived in the UK, they should be exempted from making sure that they get their indefinite leave to remain after 5 years into the 10 years. When he wrote the article, normally he's supposed to get permission from his boss, Shabana Mahmood, before publishing that article. The guy did not do that. Shabana Mahmood only found that when the Times newspaper called her and said, Mom, are you aware of this article that we're going to publish? That was when she was shocked. She was upset, not because she did not support what the guy said, because she felt that the guy has outsmarted her. It is her own policy. That is what this guy has leaked. Now, what is the good news? The two ministers in charge of immigration, they are fighting themselves. Not because they are saying they are not going to grant indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. They are saying they are trying to outsmart themselves for who has the policy. Why are they doing this? Because the game has changed. After Mike Tapp published that article, the Home Secretary then approached the Prime Minister and said, Mark must resign because he has broken the ministerial code. The ministerial code that said collective responsibility, that we all make any decision that we make, we stand back together as a team. We do not sniff at each other. After that, when Mark heard that, Mark said, I was a soldier. I fought the Taliban in Afghanistan. I will not be intimidated. You cannot intimidate me. Mark fired back. Meanwhile, Mike is one of the few ministers that publicly back Keir Starmer. When the likes of Shabana Mahmood went to meet Keir, say, Keir, it's time for you to go. The country have lost faith in you. Parliamentary Labour Party, they have lost faith in you. Bro, you need to go. Mike was one of the few ministers that was backing Keir Starmer, saying the guy has done a lot of things. Starmer felt that I will never betray my loyalist. When Shabana Mahmood now approached Keir to sack this guy, she said, hang on, I am the Prime Minister. I have the power to sack a minister, not you. Remember, they are fighting because they both agree that you will get your indefinite leave to remain. You and your family after 5 years. The Prime Minister then come back and say, no, I'm not going to sack Mike Tapp. I'm going to leave Mike is going to remain in office regardless of what the Prime Minister, the Home Secretary said. Then the Home Secretary now said, since you refuse to sack Mark, we are going to make sure that Mike will not have access. He will not have access to any government information again. We're going to restrict his access to government information in the Home Office because he is not going to be using government information to advance his own selfish interest. So people said Mike is doing this because he wants to position himself to get a bigger job in Andy Bernard's government. Because Mike realized that Andy Bernard support granting indefinite leave to remain to migrant care workers. He doesn't believe in the hardline approach that Keir adopted because he was chasing reform voters. Now, remember, Keir now has few weeks to remain. Now, how does this now affect you as a migrant care worker. The two of them, they are fighting for who will get the credit for granting you and your family indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. Now, you're not going to wait for 10 years. That is another good news. Now, for the first time in the history of British politics, I cannot recall a time when government ministers are fighting in public. Why? Some people say because they realize that Keir Starmer is gone. So they are trying to maneuver themselves so that they can get favor from the King of Manchester and the Bernard, who's going to become the Home Secretary in a few days' time, because they know that Andy Bernard supports migrant getting indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. He doesn't believe in the hardline approach that Keir has been doing. This is why people are saying that Mike is selfish. Mike is trying to advance his own selfish interests. And he now believes that by being disloyal, by being disrespectful to the Home Secretary in public, that will position him to claim the credit to say, I was the one that fought for migrant care workers to get indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. I never supported that policy in the first place. So he's doing all these things to get a bigger job. For you as a migrant, you do not care whether it is Mike or Mickey or Shabana, all you care about is that the contract that you signed with the British government. When you answer the call to come and care for the most vulnerable people in society, that the government should honor it so that you can live in peace and stability. Not wake up in the morning, your employer bullied you last night and say, John, if you misbehave, you've been deported back to your country. But the next day you go back to work because you know that he has the power. He can revoke your work permit. And once it's revoked, you and your children, you have uncertainty. The children that are settled, when you look at your children's face in the morning, even when you don't want to go to work, you go to work because of their face. Even when you're unhappy, because as a parent, you're making all these sacrifices so your children would have a better life than you. That is what drives a lot of immigrants to make sure that their children have a better life than them. Now, the question that a lot of people are now saying, what would it mean for immigrants if they grant you indefinite leave to remain today? What will it mean? It means that you have 5 years to get your indefinite leave to remain, stability for your family, greater long-term security. Because at that time, you know that you can go access education, those that want to do businesses, whatever you want to do, there's no restriction on your immigration status. Better retention. Most of you will go and do other jobs because you believe you're overqualified for what you're doing. It also makes a stronger community sense. It will make you feel a sense of belonging. And after 1 year of getting your indefinite leave to remain, you go and take your life in UK test and you get your British passport. When you're going to Spain, you don't have to wait for visas. My God. There's nothing God cannot do. That time you'll be very, very happy. After when you see immigration, when you see immigration doing raid, you won't panic. You say, I'm good. I am settled. I am exempted now. You won't worry at that time because you have freedom for that. So that is one of the benefits. We also know that what happened next now, after all these things, how does this now affect you? When are you going to get your indefinite leave to remain? I know as you're watching me now, you say, Frank, this your story is good, but when are they going to give us this indefinite leave to remain last? No official policy change. The Prime Minister has not dismissed Mike Tapp, not tapping. Mike Tapp. Mark, this weekend, Mark is in America, he's getting married. He's a young man, he's getting married. Mark, we wish you and your darling wife a happy marriage life. Now you're famous, bro, because nobody knew you before last week. Well, now you're famous. Good. Mark, no access for Mike again. There's been access to government information has been restricted because Mark cannot access. There's ongoing discussion. There is what you need to say. The key thing that you need to take away is that the two of them agree. In fact, And Bernard, Mike, Shabana, Keir Starmer, they now agree that they follow the wrong policy, trying to outsmart reform, trying to sound like reform. That was a mistake. It hasn't resulted to anything. The four of them now agree that you will have your indefinite leave to remain after 4 years. And hopefully, when you get that indefinite leave to remain, you remember the lunch club, because we have been campaigning. We've been doing everything to advise, to advocate for our people, because we believe that the government had a contract with migrant care workers who came to the UK, and the government should honor it, because it could affect British credibility and reputation when you sign a contract with your mortgage provider. Say, I want to get a mortgage. The mortgage provider cannot just wake up one morning and change the terms and conditions of the contract. We believe it was unfair. It was inhumane to tell those who came to the UK on the condition that they will get indefinite leave to remain after 5 years, for the government to breach that. We felt it was wrong. Here is my advice and appeal to all of you who are going to get your indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. Stay away from those people that will start telling you the benefit to access. Those people that will tell you to go and get, that will be giving you ideas about how to get council house. Those people are going to lead you to a life of perpetuity and captivity in slavery. You will not progress by being on benefit. I will never raise my children in a council house. I haven't got anything for those that live in council house. But me, Frank, I came to this country for a better life, not to live in council house. I do not want to be on benefit. Tomorrow I'm going to Spain. I have to go and tell benefit people, oh, please, I want to. No. I want freedom. Freedom to be able to live my life the way I want it. And that is why I will never go on all this benefit. In my 25 years in this country, I would never have done it. And all my friends, the people that I hang around with, they don't do all those things. They are progressing, they have houses, they have companies. Associate yourself with people that are progressive and doing things. Not people that will be telling you about the latest benefit. The later you go and get council house, you can do better than that. If you see any value in this content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Tell all the migrant care workers that it's only a matter of time. They'll be able to apply for their indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. Don't forget me, because I use this platform to campaign. So hopefully you can nominate me to the House of Lords, so that my name can be Lord Frank of Berkshire. God bless. I'll see you soon. Peace and love.